Welcome to Catalytic Leadership, the podcast designed to help leaders intentionally grow and thrive. Here is your host, author, and leadership and executive coach, Dr. William Attaway.
Hey, it's William, and welcome to today's episode of the Catalytic Leadership Podcast. Each week, we tackle a topic related to the field of leadership. My goal is to ensure that you have actionable steps you can take from each episode to grow in your own leadership. I believe, like Craig Rochelle has said many times, that when a leader gets better, everybody benefits. Your team, your department, your customers, your clients, your spouse, your kids, everybody. Each week, we spotlight leaders from a variety of fields, locations, and organizations. My goal is for you to see that leaders can be catalytic no matter where they are or what they lead. I draw inspiration from the stories and journeys of these leaders, and I hear from many of you that you do too. Let's jump in to today's interview. It is an honor today to have Sebastian Schieke with us. Sebastian is an entrepreneur, a CEO, mentor, a coach, a business angel, and an investor. He has founded and run and grown multiple seven-figure companies, investing in startups, mentoring and coaching CEOs, and helping them to move their teams forward. He's also gone through challenging times. He knows what it takes, and he knows how to get there, having been taught by business and by life, not just by seminars and books. He grew up in the communist part of Germany where entrepreneurship did not exist. And since moving to West Germany when he was 14, he always wanted to run his own show. He never had a real job, having gone through some significant changes in his life. He fully embraces change. Now he speaks about change, remote work, virtual teams, leadership, and entrepreneurship as he runs an entirely virtual company with people on different continents. Sebastian, it is an honor to have you here today.
Thanks a lot, William, for having me on your show.
I would love for you to share some of your story, Sebastian, with our listeners, particularly around your journey and your development as a leader. How did you get started?
Well, good question. How did I get started? I mean, maybe I really start from the beginning. You know, you mentioned that I grew up in East Germany, and this is right. I was born in Dresden, which is on the far eastern border in Germany, during a time where the eastern part of Germany was a communist country. You know, it was basically ruled by the Soviets, and we had this iron fence which went through Germany, separating the West and the East. And honestly, now, especially in those times when there's this war in Ukraine and Russia was invading this country, and I mean, all these old memories basically come back, you know. And I mean, what kind of life was it? I mean, okay, first of all, it was a very quiet life compared to now. I mean, obviously, back then, I mean, we didn't have a telephone at home. We didn't, when I wanted to talk to someone, I actually had to walk to them and knock on the door and say hello. Just couldn't call anybody, which was also nice because you had more close relationship to your friends. But everything basically belonged to everybody. Yeah, you had so-called property of the community, so you had no capital, so you had no entrepreneurship. Everything was ruled and organized by the country, and well, obviously this didn't work well. I mean, we had big shortages in East Germany, and also nobody was unemployed. Everyone was employed. Also, they didn't do much, you know, they just basically, many of them just went to the office or to the factory and just didn't do much. I had holiday jobs where I basically was paid for just lying around.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I was already in my young years, I was thinking, hey, I mean, there must be more than this. And my first connection to entrepreneurship was basically done by my mother, because she founded her own hairdressing salon. Yeah, so this inspired me, and I thought, hey, there's more. Then the time changed rapidly. It was 89, when the wall basically, this movement started, that people went to demonstrations on Monday. They started to really speak against the government, and you had this movement coming up, and then people leaving over different Eastern countries like Czechoslovakia and Hungary. And so there was a lot going on in this country. And we as a family back then also decided, okay, we want to leave, we want to start a new life in West Germany, where we also had relatives. So we officially went through the process, and in January 90, we basically left. We started from scratch. We had nothing. We just basically took what we had in our home. I was sending packed parcels to my relatives in the West for 2 months, to basically all your belongings from your home we shipped over step by step. And then we packed our car and drove to West Germany. And here I am. And I was 14, so still going to school. But here again, I thought, hey, we had relatives there, and they run their own construction office, creating stuff for the automobile industry. And I was thinking, their freedom, their possibilities, and I mean, okay, to be honest, back then also their financial freedom really inspired me, because when you came from nothing, this is initially a motivator to become an entrepreneur. It doesn't last forever, but it was a motivator. So I did my school, and then I went to university, but already I needed to finance my studying, of course, and this I did with small entrepreneurial gigs. I was selling PCs. Back then you bought PC parts and put them together, and sold the PC to someone else. And this is where I basically started. And then it was the time of 99, actually earlier, 96, 97, where there was this big boom in the IT industry. So basically everyone who could spell IT could get a high-paid job. So this is how I started. I was luckily at the right time, at the right place. So I worked as a freelancer for banks here in Frankfurt, for the financial industry, for corporates. And this really, I enjoyed this. But here again, I just didn't want to be a freelancer. I wanted to have my own company. I wanted to grow something. And then I started off in a different way than I ended up, how it often is, I thought about, okay, I could staff IT people, IT consultants to companies, to corporates. So I founded my first company back in the year 2000. And interestingly, very soon this whole IT market sort of collapsed, after Y2K, the demand dropped. And also, honestly, I didn't really like just passing on CVs, I thought there should be more than just supplying people to a role. Where's the added value? Where can I really create something? And again, by chance, I was working as an IT consultant in a corporate project here, and they implemented a treasury management system for their finance department. And I was the IT guy doing the IT servers and everything you need. I worked on this project, but then I realized, hey, there's no one no one who's really understanding the application from the team. You had all these consultants there, but at some point they obviously left. I mean, I also was a consultant, but I was more like working directly for this corporate. So I started printing out this, I literally printed out the document from this treasury management system, big pile of paper, and started learning it, started playing around, getting acquainting the knowledge. And I was working really hard for almost 2 years in this project, and accumulated a lot of knowledge. And there was the time when I said, hey, I need a holiday. I need to switch off for a couple of weeks. And I wanted to go to Australia. 6 weeks Australia. This was my plan. But then I thought, hey, how do I mean, the client needs me, you know? I mean, I'm doing all this, I'm running his show basically. So they need me. This was the time where I switched from basically a freelancer or someone who had a company, but I was my only employee, to real employer. I hired my first employee because I wanted to go on holiday. And I hired him, I trained him, and I even supported him when I was in on the other part of the world with phone calls and stuff, but it worked amazingly well. And then I came back, and then this our success story started. You know, we got more clients in this niche market. We got more people. We hired more staff, just because I used this small opportunity which was there. You know, taking this, and this is one of the lessons I want to bring across. The world is full of opportunities, but you have to take them and develop something out of this. Often these opportunities are outside of your comfort zone. So you have to step out and develop the skills you don't have at this moment. But hey, if you have the right mindset, growth mindset, you can learn almost everything.
So true.
Yeah. So I basically, this company for the next almost a decade constantly grew, like more clients, more business, and it was amazing. The only thing which, one mistake I made was basically that I didn't really develop my entrepreneurial skills. I was a manager. I was running the show. You know, I was doing the projects. I was working on client projects, but I didn't really develop the skills you need as an entrepreneur. I didn't have an exit strategy. It was my baby, you know.
Yeah.
Back in those times, someone approached me to buy my company, and I just thought, no way. You can't
sell your baby.
My baby.
Yeah, that's right.
That's my life. Well, big learning, you know, as an entrepreneur, if you don't have an exit strategy, you have a job. Back then I had a job. Well, and then things changed. The market changed. I mean, it was a niche market. We basically were dependent from a big software supplier. And project didn't have, I mean, they have different aspects. You know, the market changed. I didn't have the right entrepreneurial skills back then. I also lost motivation because a lot of political discussions with clients. I mean, when you work with big corporates, I mean, you deal a lot with politics, you know. And also, this is important that you learn that when you work on the business, not in the business, as an entrepreneur, you don't get involved so much into day-to-day troubles, and this preserves your energy. And this is mega important. Because if you are involved in every small detail which is happening in your organization, you will burn out. And I was close to burnout. I was close to burnout. So it basically was the time when I asked myself, hey, how do I continue? What is the how does my future look like? You know, I didn't really like this business back then anymore, and but still I was responsible for people, and so it was the time when I started my journey on personal development. I went to a lot of seminars. I worked with coaches and mentors, and read tons of books, you know, and what you do. And then I learned very important lessons. I mean, what is leadership? I mean, first of all, leadership is self-leadership. You have to lead yourself to be able to lead a team.
Yeah.
I learned that it's important as an entrepreneur that you're not involved in every little detail, that you work on the business and not in the business.
That's good.
I had a tremendous growth on these skills and mindset shifts and so on. And yeah, I used the opportunity to basically restructure the company. Of course, we had to let a couple of people go, unfortunately. But hey, this was just necessary. And I basically streamlined it down. And I mean, I continued operating for over 10 years then, because I basically retired from this business just this year. Yeah. So it was going very well. And I learned to basically exclude myself. So I was the owner. I wasn't really running it anymore. I had people who run the company, and it worked amazingly well. And this was an opportunity for me to step into new endeavors. So I started a new 7-figure company, which I ran for a couple of years, focusing on digitalization projects, on digital marketing and this kind of thing. And I also started to become a business angel, because I thought, hey, I want to help young startups to go through challenging times, and I also want to invest in these startups. So I sort of slowly retired from this first business, run for 5 years this digital consultancy, and started to become a business angel. Started investing in different startups, and then. But I still wasn't 100% happy with the second business I founded, because it didn't really give me the pleasure and the joy. And so I realized, hey, I want to use the knowledge I have accumulated and help other business leaders. And this is how I then basically turned this digitalization trash company into a pure mentoring business for now we primarily work for fast-growing tech CEOs and tech companies.
Wow.
That's my story in a nutshell in 20 minutes.
I love that, Sebastian. I love how you've described a story that's not just up and to the right. There's so many twists and turns, things that you didn't see coming. I love that you are in a place now where you're able to pour into and invest in younger leaders and other leaders with what you've learned, that you're not just holding it all in for you. You want to share that.
Exactly. Right? I mean, there's this saying, I mean, it sounds a bit corny, but sharing is caring. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, I mean, I want to give back. I want to support young leaders, because I mean, if you are not at the right time in the right place, business is a tough game, you know. And especially nowadays, when, I mean, in our pre-call, you said, yeah, you want to talk about the differences between don't know, when I started 20 years ago. Now, I mean, we all know the world is so, I use this phrase VUCA a lot. Yeah. The VUCA means V for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And this is basically how you can describe the world we live in at the moment.
That's true.
VUCA was coined by the Americans back when the wall came down, because before there was a clear separation between East and West. And then the wall came down, and you had these different countries and different political systems, and there was a lot of volatility and complexity, and this is how they phrased this term VUCA. And I use this a lot in our coachings and trainings, and when I talk to business leaders, because it describes the world we live in at the moment. Yeah. And back then, when I started, I mean, of course, you had certain unpredictabilities, but honestly, I mean, life was pretty stable back then, 20 years ago, wasn't it? I mean,
absolutely.
You look at just the last 3 years. Yeah, we went through COVID. Here in Europe, we go through this war, which is basically next door. Yeah, absolutely. If one of these atomic plants blows up, then I'm really in trouble here. And then we have the energy crisis and inflation and everything. I mean, this adds up. And back then it was, life was very stable and predictable. And for almost 10 years, I was doing the same stuff every day, the same type of projects, the same type of clients, working for corporates, working for financial institutions, the same system implementation, business process, upgrade projects, whatever. And now in the last years, I had to reinvent myself many times, also because I wanted it, because when you grow and you become older, you have higher expectation. I mean, initially I said money was a driving factor for me becoming an entrepreneur. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was, because I was coming up from a poor environment. But once, and I mean, I don't want to say to show off, but once you make money, you realize that money doesn't make you happy, you know? There's more in life than just having a big bank account. Yeah. You want to grow, you want to develop your skills, you want to contribute. And those are the needs, at least for me, which are important.
That's so good.
And this is, it's changing over time when you go through this process of or this journey of running various organizations and developing yourself and growing also as a leader and entrepreneur.
And I think that's key. You know, Sebastian, to your story, you never stopped growing. You know, that growth mindset that propelled you through your entire story, you never stopped growing. Even now, you said you transitioned this year, right? From running these companies to now you're a whole different endeavor, mentoring and coaching and pouring into and sharing what's been put into you, what's part of your story with other people so they can benefit from that. One of the things that I'll often tell leaders is, you know, what's been put in your hands is not just for you. Every experience is not just for you. It's for the benefit of those around you. And the question is, are you going to be willing and open-handed in sharing that? Or are you going to try to hold it all in for yourself? And I love that your story is the open-handed version.
I want to share. I mean, this is why we meet here on this podcast. I mean, I just started podcasting a month ago. Yeah, I said, hey, I want to try this tool, you know. Yeah. And I started put myself as a guest speaker, but I also host my own show, the High Performance CEO podcast. So it's an amazing tool to meet interesting people, to talk to them, to share stories, to connect. I mean, when I see how many interesting people I met in the last month, this is mind-blowing. From all over the world. I really love this stuff.
It is an incredible venue, to be sure. So in looking over your story as a whole, just as a broad picture, how would you define leadership as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, first of all, leadership starts with self-leadership.
Yeah.
You have to lead yourself.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you, I mean, I always use this wheel of life approach. I don't know if you,
very familiar.
You have different areas of life, and life is not only business.
Right.
Life is not only making money. Life is also spending time with your kids. Life is working out. Life is going on holiday. Life is have a spiritual part. Yeah? And only when all these areas in your life are well balanced, this wheel of life, if you literally look at imagine a wheel, can turn, you know.
Right.
Otherwise, if one area is not developed, then it's like you can't drive fast through your life with a wheel which is not round. Yeah. So this is number one. Yeah. Lead yourself. And of course, lead by example. You can't expect stuff from your employees or your team which you're not prepared to do. You know, you cannot. I mean, leadership has changed. You know, I mean, when I started, you still had this typical leaders. I tell you what to do. You do this. You report back to me. Yeah. we all know this. We all been there. Yeah? And the typical boss leader style. And I mean, hey, this doesn't work anymore. Your job as a leader, and there's this phrase, servant leadership, is to serve your people, to create the work environment they can thrive in, to empower them so they can do their job. It is very important that you really understand that leadership is not you know everything and tell your team what to do. No, I mean, I always tell my clients, hey, if you hire someone who's more intelligent than you.
Yes.
Hire someone who has more skills. Because, I mean, why do you hire people? Not that you know better and that they come to you all the time and ask you. I mean, only if you have a really broken ego. But you hire people that they can run the show. They can basically do the job, and that you can step back and work on the business as a whole, and not just be in the treadmill like I've been in the beginning of my career.
Absolutely. I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs listen to this podcast. What do you think the primary skill that an entrepreneur needs for today's world?
I think you have to be open. You have to embrace change. You have to look for opportunities and never settle. I mean, you cannot never accept the status quo. Even if your business is now going through the roof, there will be the time when things change. There will be the time when another big Amazon, Google, whatever is developing a new product and you're gone. I was talking to a startup, and they wanted to build a platform, or they're building a platform to for electro vehicles. So that basically a database where you can find charging points. And I thought, hey, that's an amazing idea. And I almost thought about investing in this company until I found out that Google has a project where they build a database for charging points, you know? Yes. I mean, this is really an issue that life is changing so quickly, and you really have to be open, and you have to look for these opportunities and never take what you have for granted.
And there's that growth mindset again. There's that curiosity and that student mindset. I love that.
Yeah.
So, Sebastian, you talk about being the creator of your life and not the victim of your circumstances.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
I learned this. It's not from me. I learned this from my mentor, Tony Robbins. The issue is that there's so many people, they spend more time in planning their holiday than planning their life. And more time in organizing trips or organizing the weddings than they think that hey, where do I want to be in 5 years? Where should my life develop into? What are the areas of my life which are important, and how can I improve them? And many people are just suffer, and they complain that, the economy is bad, and we have this recession, and you have inflation, and they always blame other people. They blame other people for the situation, but if you blame, then you are a victim, and you're not in charge. And I say, hey, we all are intelligent, at least most of us, yeah,
right.
And we have skills, and we should be able to lead our own life and to create our own life. Yeah, not just go with the flow. Yeah, think about what you want to become in a couple of years. Yeah, where you want to develop into, and then take action. Yeah, go to seminars, read books, develop your skills, create something. Yeah, create a business, create something which adds value to your community and to the world.
Yeah.
And not just be a victim and expect that the government is fixing everything. I mean, we have this. I don't know. I mean, we are here in Germany, and we have this 200 billion euro program to cover the costs, the rising costs of the energy crisis. 200 billion euros. I mean, the kids of my kids will still pay for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is insane, and this also creates this mentality that I don't have to take care. I mean, the government will sort this out. And I say, no, you are the creator of your own life. Yeah. So do something, think about your future, develop a vision for your life, create something of value, not just go with the flow I mean, when I grew up, I had this game called the Lemmings, where these small lemmings were walking and just falling down. And don't be a lemming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or don't be I mean, there's this story from the eel and chicken, yeah, where I think the egg of an eel was it was basically found by a farmer, and then he put it next to chicken eggs, and the eel grew up with the chickens, but the little eel never flew because the chicken, they don't fly, so it's always walking around. And I say, hey, don't be the chicken, be the eel, fly. Yeah. I mean, take your skills and turn them into something valuable and be in charge. Yeah. Not just follow. And as a leader, you not follow, you always go in front. Even if it's stormy and snowy outside, you are there. You have to go in front and lead your team, your organization, your company.
And it sounds like that's exactly what you've done in the companies that you've led.
Well, I'm trying.
Yeah, and that's what you coach other people to do. Yeah. That's what you help them see. Hey, this is important. You can't lead in absence. There's no such thing as leadership in absentia, right? You've got to be in the front. I love that. Is there a favorite book that you would recommend that leaders read? Every leader I know is a reader. Is there one that's really made an impact on you?
Yeah. I actually read this book, and then we talked about this before. This is why I have it here. The Ride of a Lifetime from Robert Iger. He's the used to be the CEO for a Disney company. And I mean, I read it years ago, but it's a very amazing story about his journey and his awakening when he was diagnosed with this cancer, and then when he started to really live his life with purpose, meeting people he met during his life, really intentional, and was really focusing on the life element of his wheel. It was amazing story. but I have tons of books, tons of books which I read. I mean, what I also read just recently is Atomic Habits, how to create lasting habits, because hey, everything we do is a result of small steps, and if you go in the right direction every day, 1% better, it accumulates over time.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I love that. Is there a quote that inspires you? Is there a favorite quote that you've read or that you've memorized or keep in front of you?
Yes. This is from my other mentor, Tony Robbins. Life is happening for you, not to you. And this is something, whenever something happens where I think, oh my God, why is this happening now? Why is this drama coming in my life? Yeah. Why do I maybe have had this accident or whatever? I ask myself, okay, where is the upside on this problem? Where can I learn? Where can I grow? Where can I really understand? Where can I really get something out of that? And then really see. And also when I look back in my life, most of the major challenges I had, in the end, I benefited from them because I was growing. I developed more skills. I was ready for the next challenge.
Yeah. So
life is not happening to you; it's for you. And when you really use this phrase, then life is completely. I mean, it's a different life for you. Because it's every challenge has a purpose.
Yes. And there's that growth mindset again.
That's my growth mindset.
It's just woven as so much a part of who you are.
It's my identity. Yeah.
That's exactly.
It's in me. Yeah. I can't help.
If you could share one piece of advice with the leaders who are listening today, as we wrap up, what would that be?
Well, we shared a lot already. Many probably go through big challenges right now. Sure. I mean, we live in a very difficult world, and businesses suffer, people suffer, and never lose hope. I mean, there is always something else coming. There's definitely something else coming, and we shouldn't give up. Never give up. Never give up if you are going through a challenge, through a hard time. It's
That's good.
It's something. I mean, when I stop something, I make a decision that I stop it, but I never give up. I never really, and I've been through big challenges in my life, and there's always a way. There's always a way to fix it, and there's always a next phase in business and life. So don't give up. We only have one life, and we have to live it. We have to create something. We have to use it. Not just don't be a victim and don't give up if someone puts you stones in front of your journey. Yeah.
Good. So good. Sebastian, I know our listeners are going to want to stay in touch with you and continue learning from you. What's the best way for them to stay connected with you?
I mean, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. So if you want to reach out, probably find the link in the show notes. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty responsive. This is my platform of choice. So feel free to connect. I love to hear from you, and love to hear your stories.
Sebastian, thank you. You have been so generous today with your wisdom and your insight that you've gained, not only from your own journey, but from mentors and those around you. Thank you for sharing that so open-handedly with our listeners.
It was a pleasure for me, and really lots of fun. And thanks for inviting me to your show, William.
Thanks for joining me for this episode today. As we wrap up, I have a couple of requests for you. I'd love for you to do two things. First, subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you find value here, I'd love it if you would rate it and review it. That really does make a difference in helping other people to find this podcast. Second, if you don't have a copy of my newest book, Catalytic Leadership, I'd love to put a copy in your hands. If you go to catalyticleadershipbook.com, you can get a copy for free. Just pay the shipping so I can get it to you, and we'll get one right out. My goal is to put this into the hands of as many leaders as possible. This book captures principles that I've learned in 20 plus years of coaching leaders in the entrepreneurial space, in business, government, nonprofits, education, and the local church. You can always connect with me on LinkedIn to keep up with what I'm learning and thinking about. And if you're ready to take a next step with a coach who can help you to intentionally grow and thrive as a leader, I'd be honored to help you. Just go to catalyticleadership.net to book a call with me. And stay tuned for our next episode next week. Until then, as always, leaders, choose to be catalytic.
Thanks for listening to Catalytic Leadership with Dr. William Attaway. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss the next episode. Want more? Go to catalyticleadership.net.